But look, what did it take for us to get to the point of an apology? We had to threaten a lawsuit, Jesse. And by the way, we're still entertaining it. We're talking to some of the best lawyers out there that are experts in this. And as you know, these things can be very complicated. There's a lot of facts and circumstances around it. But we're not going to let this go, because you should not be able to smear 5,000 high school and college kids and then just be able to walk away with it. And the reason they felt they needed to do that, Jesse, is because if they told their audience the truth, that when gas is the most expensive it's been, flights are super expensive, that 5,000 kids decided to spend a weekend in summer traveling across the country to go hear from conservative speakers, maybe the audience of The View would think twice about all of their ideas. That's why they felt so compelled to try to smear our wonderful summit this last week.
Yeah. What do you get when Charlie Kirk body slams The View with a $100 million lawsuit and Sunny Hostin has a live TV meltdown like a soap opera diva who just found out her contract's been shredded on camera? You get a courtroom circus, a daytime disaster, and a full-blown comedy roast cooked at 500 degrees of chaos. This wasn't just drama, it was gourmet grade insanity served up with a side of courtroom seasoning. While Sunny spirals into an Oscar-worthy tantrum, Whoopi sits there frozen with her classic "Lord, not again" expression, probably rethinking her entire life in real time. Meanwhile, Charlie Kirk's out here trying to convince America that he's the real victim of words.
Her disgusting, gross elitism and her complete out-of-touch nature with respect to the rest of the world. Sunny Hostin goes on The View and decides now would be a great time to dump all over the so-called uneducated.
It's the kind of televised tension that makes even Judge Judy say, "I'm out," and apply for a Netflix deal. And here's your spoiler alert. The first one to absolutely crack under the pressure. Not a lawyer, not a host, someone you'd never expect. And that's when the circus truly began. And let's talk about that $100 million, yes, $100 million. A number so cartoonishly massive it feels less like a lawsuit and more like Charlie Kirk's pitch for a Bond villain starter pack. Just imagine it. A private island shaped like an American flag, a theme park with conservative mascots handing out pamphlets instead of cotton candy, and maybe a golden jetpack or two that only flies right. That price tag doesn't scream damages. It screams, watch me hijack the media cycle for a month straight. This isn't a lawsuit, it's a marketing campaign in legal cosplay. Charlie didn't file a case. He launched a headline missile wrapped in legalese and aimed straight at daytime TV's most caffeinated chaos factory, The View. On paper, it's a talk show. In reality, it's verbal dodgeball played by drama majors pretending to be political analysts. Every episode is like a live-action fire drill where facts are optional and volume is mandatory. Nuance? Left outside in the parking lot crying under an umbrella. This isn't debate, it's decibel warfare. So when Charlie drops his legal grenade into that studio, it doesn't just spark a courtroom clash, it detonates a full-blown daytime meltdown.
Charlie Kirk's the founder and CEO of Turning Point USA and the author of the new book, The College Scam. So, Charlie, do you accept The View's apology?
I mean, regardless of whether or not I accept it, the question is, do our students accept it? That's really what's at heart here. They went after our 5,000 students at our event there of high school and college kids. And look, I get attacked all the time. People say false things. I'm a public figure. But when you go after 16 and 17-year-olds that travel from across the country that then have to live for the rest of their life with a shadow over them because someone at ABC says that they might be linked to neo.
The View has been surviving on vibes, volume, and vague outrage for years. It's the only place where a B-list celebrity breakup can be spun into a national crisis, and a mild tax policy debate can escalate into a group therapy session featuring yelling, crying, and possibly an interpretive sigh. Watching it is like tuning into a soap opera that tried on a blazer and called itself news. Every sigh, gasp, and side-eye is treated like a groundbreaking TED Talk. You've got a round table of professional interrupters who treat disagreement like betrayal and eye rolls like legal arguments. These ladies aren't debating, they're auditioning. The louder the scream, the more convinced they are that they just cured ignorance. And God forbid someone offers a slightly different opinion. It's treated like they pulled the fire alarm during brunch. This isn't journalism, it's theatrical turbulence. For years, this clucking council of self-appointed sages has been serving outrage as enlightenment, delivering emotional hot takes with the energy of gospel preachers at a reality TV reunion show. show. But now, finally, someone pulled the emergency brake on this runaway train of televised tantrums. Enter Charlie Kirk. He didn't just toss shade from the safety of Twitter or fire shots from a podcast studio. No, sir. He strapped on his legal armor, marched straight into the lion's den, nodded at the chaos, and casually dropped a $100 million lawsuit like it was just another Tuesday at the circus. But don't get it twisted, this move was never really about the money. That absurd dollar sign? It's the glitter bomb that distracts while the real play unfolds. This is about calling out the noise, putting his foot down, and screaming enough into the echo chamber of smug takes and designer ignorance. Charlie didn't sue a show. He sued an empire, a content machine that runs on caffeine, condescension, and clapping seals in the audience.
You let them in and you knew what they were. Right. So you are complicit.
We begin with a shocking apology just a short time ago from the ladies of The View to Turning Point USA. A war of words broke out after the conservative group was rallying the next generation of voters at its youth summit in Tampa, Florida this weekend. And the liberal panel just couldn't help themselves. The group sent a scathing cease and desist letter after hosts on The View suggested that Turning Point had embraced neo-Nazis who showed up.
A megaphone of hyperbole where yelling is wisdom and rolling your eyes is treated like a philosophical mic drop. This isn't a lawsuit, it's a cultural middle finger. It's Charlie walking into the loudest corner of American media and shouting, "Turn it down," louder than the show itself. And this wasn't just a legal stunt, this was a declaration of war against the circus of manufactured rage that dresses up in political drag and sells itself as intellectual debate. For too long, that studio's been pumping out noise like silence is a threat to democracy. It screeches, interrupts, overreacts, and then calls it a conversation. That $100 million. It's not a power move, it's a flare in the sky, a signal fire telling the media world this chaotic soapbox you've been marketing as national dialogue. It's broken, it's bankrupt, it's loud for the sake of loud, and now someone's finally throwing a wrench in the gears. Kirk isn't just swinging at Whoopi or Sunny, he's targeting the entire system, the whole outrage economy, the hot take factor, the professional pearl clutchers who turn every breath into a breaking news alert. He's not just suing, he's exposing, and sure, maybe it's bold, maybe it's hopeless, but it's loud enough to make people stop scrolling. And in today's world, that alone is a win. And let's just keep it brutally real. The View stopped being a talk show years ago. What it is now, a live-action meme machine powered by hot takes, bad fashion choices, and enough ego to power a small country. Sure, there's a table, but it's not round. It's a carousel of clashing egos spinning faster than the facts. Opinions aren't offered. They're shouted like gospel, raw and loud, as if sheer volume makes them profound. Facts get bent, twisted, and sprinkled with smugness like they're just another ingredient in the chaos cocktail. When parody and reality blur this hard, somebody had to step in and hit pause. And Charlie just did it with a lawsuit wrapped in fireworks. Front and center in this circus, Sunny Hostin, once a respected courtroom professional, now the queen of daytime mic, drops an overcooked commentary. These days, her law degree feels less like a credential.
Point, Wisconsin, about 28,000 votes. He won by a point-ish, 1.2 in Michigan. And then he won by 1 point in Pennsylvania. And so, Megan, it is conceivable that without this record movement of youth vote, he doesn't win.
And more like a stage prop, something to flash between takes like a TikTok influencer showing off a Photoshop certificate. She tosses around legal jargon like she's selling justice-scented candles on a live stream. Confident? Always. Correct? Hey, not so much. But now, the plot just twisted harder than one of their awkward transitions. Sunny's not just talking about legal drama anymore. She's standing in the middle of one. And spoiler alert, this can't be solved with sass, coffee, or cue cards. And before anyone grabs the overused script about silencing women, let's clear the air. This ain't a gag order. This is a mirror, a courtroom-sized one. Accountability doesn't care about airtime, applause, or how many times the camera cuts to your reaction face. Daytime TV can hide behind the excuse of just opinions. But when those hot takes become flamethrowers aimed at real reputations, someone's eventually going to call the fire department. And what's now knocking on their dressing room door isn't censorship, it's justice, with a clipboard and a court date. Because when you spend years lawyers turning people into punchlines and roasting reputations like it's a daytime sport someone's gonna ask for the tab. And Charlie Kirk, he's here with the receipt. This time, it's not a clapback segment, it's a reckoning. No applause sign, no commercial breaks, just one big overdue demand. Prove it. For over a decade, The View has paraded around like it came with a VIP pass to say whatever, whenever, no facts required. It's been an unchecked playground of loud voices shouting over each other, bulldozing dissent, and packaging smug opinions like they're some kind of brave feminist manifestos. What they call fearless commentary is usually just pre-scripted outrage, carefully timed between ad breaks and tailor-made for TikTok drama montages. But somewhere between those applause breaks, studio claps, and Instagram clips, they forgot the one thing that actually matters. When you're broadcasting to millions, it's not just a vibe, it's a responsibility. And sometimes that responsibility shows up in the form of subpoenas, not fan mail. This isn't a scrappy little underdog story flipped on its head. No David versus Goliath fairy tale here. This is about a media machine that got so comfortable throwing accusations from comfy swivel chairs, they assumed no one would ever push back. They thought the consequences were for other people. But now, Charlie Kirk just walked into the spotlight and ripped open the studio blinds. He's not launching a war. He's asking the question that's been simmering in the minds of fed-up viewers for years. When does the show end and the accountability begin? This isn't cancel culture, it's consequence culture, and it's way past due. Kirk didn't fire the first shot in some imaginary culture war.
What we did not have is white women who voted about 52%, right, for Donald Trump. Uneducated white women, is my understanding. You have Latino men, actually, voting more for him. And you have, and black men was not the story. We're not the story here because they voted almost 80% for the vice president. Right.
He just said what millions have been screaming at their screens for a decade. If you're going to toss grenades on live TV, don't act shocked when someone shows up with a broom and a legal team. Because in the end, it's not about silencing voices, it's about holding them responsible. And The View, they're finally being told the show can't go on without a reality check. In a media landscape addicted to going viral, maybe, just maybe, it's time someone reminded them that truth isn't a trend and responsibility. That's not optional. So next time the intro music hits and the hosts do their dramatic entrance, don't just grab the popcorn, grab a notebook, because the age of untouchable talk show theatrics might finally be limping toward its last commercial break. And honestly, it's about time. Let's not twist the narrative. This isn't Charlie Kirk throwing a tantrum in the name of political clout. This is a gloves-off, calculated power play, a cultural checkmate against a show that's turned dissent into a dirty word. He's not whining, he's flipping the script. And now, for once, the self-crowned queens of chaos are being forced off script, dragged out of their comfort zone to defend their dramatics without a teleprompter, without a studio audience cheering their every snarky jab, and without the warm hug of network bias cushioning every hot take. This isn't cancel culture. This is long overdue consequence culture pulling up with legal documents and a side of cold reality. And here's the ironic twist that's almost too rich to ignore. The View, a show that parades around under the banner of free speech, now finds itself cornered by that very freedom, because when your so-called commentary turns into potential public slander, that shiny speech badge starts looking a lot more like a liability. Sunny Hostin might want to dust off that law degree and brush up on real-world courtrooms, because this isn't a PR crisis. It's a legal reckoning, and the receipts are already being organized into exhibit folders. Cue the quiet panic echoing through the halls of ABC headquarters. Lawyers are combing through years of footage like it's ancient prophecy, scanning every snide comment and eye roll for courtroom gold. Producers, they're sweating bullets, trying to plot future episodes that don't walk straight into a legal landmine. And the hosts, still perched on their velvet thrones, probably wondering why the courtroom doesn't come with a live audience ready to clap every time they drop a one-liner. Because this time, the stakes aren't rating, they're legal. And the only script that matters now is the one filed in court. Oh, the content? It's been theatrical alright. For years, The View has turned latte preferences and scarf choices into national debates, turning everyday nonsense into dramatic soapbox declarations. It's like they discovered a secret formula: inflate the insignificant, sprinkle some outrage, and serve it up with a side of smug applause. But now, that phony moral superiority act may have finally backfired, because once the drama steps off the stage and into a real courtroom, no one's clapping, people are taking notes. The View's outrage engine doesn't sleep, it runs on pre-scripted indignation, synchronized gasps, and enough forced applause to power a luxury yoga retreat in the Hamptons. This cast didn't just stir the pot, they installed an espresso machine on top and called it journalism. Drama wasn't a side effect, it was the ritual, the daily sacrament, but suddenly the cameras aren't the only ones blinking. The hosts are too, wide-eyed, frozen like deer, caught in the harsh beams of courtroom reality. All that fire and fury energy, now it's been replaced with awkward silence, nervous glances, and a shocking case of selective amnesia. It's almost as if they've all forgotten the years they spent launching verbal missiles at anyone who dared step out of their carefully curated ideological lane. These women didn't just host a talk show, they ran a daytime demolition crew, tearing into reputations like it was sport, right between sponsored segments for eye cream and vegan protein bars. They served their takes messy, loud, and unfiltered, always with a side of faux moral high ground. But now, Charlie Kirk has stepped onto their glitter-drenched soundstage, not with a mic drop, not with a snarky punchline, but with cold legal documents and courtroom precision. No rants, no one-liners, just subpoena-level strategy. This isn't a debate, it's a dismantling, and he didn't come to talk. He came to take names. This legal clash, it's not just Charlie Kirk picking a fight, it's a full-blown takedown of an empire dressed up as journalism, a glossy, overhyped talk show titan that spent years confusing volume for value and audience claps for actual credibility. This lawsuit doesn't just ruffle a few feathers, it grabs the entire NBC peacock by the neck and asks the question mainstream media's been avoiding. Sure, the show's defenders will hide behind their usual buzzwords. It's satire, it's opinion, it's protected speech. But when your whole act turns real people into punchlines, mislabels beliefs, and delivers public verdicts before the first ad break, that's not neutral, it's narrative warfare. Kirk's lawsuit isn't a meltdown, it's a bold boundary being drawn, and it's making the loudest table in TV land squirm like never before. This isn't commentary, it's character assassination with a smile. The View has perfected turning people into running gags, treating reputations like disposable punchlines. Now, the lawsuit might not shut the show down, but it's forcing them to face a mirror they've dodged for years. Maybe, just maybe, they'll finally realize talking into a camera doesn't put you above consequences. Words carry weight, especially when broadcast to millions. And this time, the blowback isn't a hashtag or viral clapback. It's a legal challenge that says, if you're going to drag people through the mud on air, you better have more than applause backing you up. What about the audience? They deserve better than a yelling match disguised as journalism. They deserve real insight, not 5 voices tripping over each other, competing to be loudest or most outraged. What The View has been selling is noise, not news, ego, not ethics. And now, thanks to Charlie Kirk, there's finally a chance to raise the bar. This isn't just legal drama, it's a warning shot to an entire media culture drunk on arrogance, where mockery masquerades as analysis and opinion replaces truth. But now, the volume's turning down, and this courtroom battle, it just might be the mute button the media never saw coming. So yeah, laugh at the chaos if you want, but beneath the memes and headlines lies a serious question about responsibility. One The View will have to answer after years of asking all the wrong ones. If you found this breakdown eye-opening, hit that like button, subscribe to 𝐃𝐢𝐬𝐜𝐿 Reports.